wasn't for you guys.
People are already lining up, which is great, but I do have a question up here I want to ask Erica. We obviously watched you grow in so many ways over the show. From being fresh face in season 1 to being executive producer by the end of the series, directing. Erica, what was it like being directed by Tom?
Well, in my opinion, playing a little game, let's see how it goes. What I really liked is that Tom and I had a previous acting professional relationship before that, so there was a short, what do you call it, a shorthand? A shorthand.
Tom and I had a wonderful...
There was a shorthand that we had where we could, a lot of times, just sort of look at each other and kind of know and feel the vibe of the show. And so that I think that really helped me as Erica.
Tom?
No, but really we did have that because something would happen and we had to go out again or do another take of it, and you would literally do that thing when you do the thing. I go, okay.
Sign of a good director. Let's start taking some questions over on this side.
Oh, he's already on that. Chuck, thanks for the popcorn.
Good. I'll grab it in a minute. It's a question I've asked Erica before. So Tom, you have any stories on this? Love to hear it. On the episode Combat, how fun was it for you both to tag team WWE's Kane as Titan in Combat? If they're even back behind the stage stories of how funny that was or how stressful that was. Love to hear it.
Nothing is stressful as Tom. Actually, everything is like quietly small. No, it was great. I love working with him. He was fantastic. So much fun. Really professional. Really showed up to get his A game. And,
Are you doing my voice too?
Yeah.
You're definitely not Erica right now.
I really loved it. I thought it was great.
Next question.
Next question.
No, what I do remember about this, and maybe you do, when there was this, it's a jumping the shark sort of episode where they're obviously pushing the WWF theme and whatnot. But what I found from the multiple characters in the WWF who became the characters on Smallville, extremely 10-star, 8+ professionals. So professional. And it's really what I got from them. They were like, whatever you need, I'm here, I'm on time, I'm ready, everything. And they're also very strong and they know what they're doing. They understand all those fight sequences and movements, so they're easy. The choreography was easy. So I remember being a lot of fun.
Because it was you're a very big human. He was a big human.
No, he's a giant.
Was that kind of cool? Did you like that?
It's awkward. You're used to being kind of a bigger person.
Is it fun to
I wouldn't say fun. What I really
have that ramp to get up with that.
Yeah, I think I didn't stand too close to him. Because as a larger human, I'm not used to looking up. So I would just I don't know, I think I would be 2 steps further back than most people when I spoke to them, so I didn't have to look up.
But then you knew you would win regardless.
Yeah, Clark was gonna win.
Clark was going to win. We were like,
Yeah, yeah, and you ran that red thing, that red,
Yeah,
I remember that.
Go here.
Hi guys. So I've been watching the series many times, but every time I hear the song, I feel like it's Lex actually asking for help. Do you think that if you had opened up and give you a secret, will help save him and maybe even do a brother?
You mean between us or Lex? You said Lex?
You or Lex?
Yeah.
we're not supposed to talk about
Well,
it.
there was something, and I still lean on this now. If you film 2 people holding hands through a beautiful field of flowers, it's boring. If you film 2 people walking through a field of flowers and they're in an argument, You kind of want to know what's going on. So the nature of television, you have to create these tension moments, and some of them are a little forced. They're not the best, but there's a lead story which ultimately is a Clark and Lois story that it all is supposed to lead up to. So all those little bumps in the road, it's all tension for television. Because if like Lois showed up and she just came to the Kent farm and she's like, I hate my dad, he's a military guy, and like, by the way, I'm from another planet, and like, I love you. the show's gone. Like, there's no show there, you know? Right. And so, but like, so I know it's hard as a fan myself of other shows that I like to watch. There's those times where you're like, can you just do this thing I want you to do? But the tension is what keeps it going. And if two people just being happy in love, they don't really make those movies or television shows. So that's what I remind myself, and it's not real.
How many of you have been in relationships and are going along and you're a little bit bored and you're like, I'm going to poke that button. I want to poke that button.
No hands? No hands? Yeah, so I think when you watch television film, a lot of the storytelling, a lot of the big moments are based on conflict of the plot and story. And that's kind of what I think you've touched on. But yeah, I mean, if Clark and Lois just like saw each other and held hands and walked through a field of flowers, we would not have a few more seasons of Smallville. Yeah.
I know one thing we've talked about on the podcast a lot is how elevated your performance got when she came into the fold.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was looking for more.
Yeah.
Because you were in a specific storyline, and there was a lot of really heavy drama beats, and people have been very positive about my interpretation of Lois, but I always say, like, I got to be comedic relief.
Yes.
I got to be conflict. I was allowed to pull certain things out of you that other people didn't get to do, so, like, my happenstance also, yeah, that was amazing.
And I mean this in the most wonderful way. You were like a beautiful Tasmanian devil. You know what I mean? Because like Clark didn't control you, or didn't, you know, and watching it, but like just like kind of like working around this wonderful thing, and that brought more out of Clark. And I thought they wrote it well. I thought that what we, you know, in between scenes, even though we had guest directors, we would have our own little dialogue about like, is this working, or do this or that, or whatever, because we were there all the time together. I think it really worked for what the show is, because the show is literally about Clark. And like, I don't mean to be selfish, but everyone serves that major storyline, even Lex. Somebody said today it was a Lex story. I was like, what?
Well, it was called Smallville, not Tall Human.
Yeah, I think Michael's in that. But, and, you know, then you have characters like Whitney, who's, you know, in some ways you don't get to see Whitney by himself. You only see him affecting Lana and Clark. So he's, you want to say underserved, but he's a tool in the story. I guess that's what I'm going back to. And so that's what we all are, even Clark is. For this theme, this ascension that we're all waiting to happen, that took 10 years.
Yeah, it was the best Lois Lane we've ever had.
I'll take it.
Who's next?
Okay, so you guys mentioned something that I did want to touch on, so about Lois and Clark's relationship. So I wanted to know, like, at what point or moment did they realize that they had feelings for each other? Because I know Clark, you know, was, you know, not used to Lois's temperament, you know. So it's like, you know, the first time Lois saw Clark, it was, you know. So I was just curious, you know, like, at what point.
She knew what she was working with.
Right. So like, do you guys think of any episode you guys, you know, when either Lois and Clark started to realize those feelings, or they started to bring it up?
I don't remember what episode, but there was a scene where we were in the Kent house in the kitchen, and our characters are talking to Jonathan and Martha, and there was a 2-shot where the banter was just going back and forth. And I don't know if it was, I just knew that we had something like as far as like an overlap of frequency and whatnot. I don't think the characters knew, like it was subconscious for a couple seasons.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember that scene being like, oh, this is what it will be. I remember thinking that as like the actor.
That's what's fun about the creative process, though. It's like everything feeds into something else. And so originally I come in for 4 episodes because they need to like launch a season with a new character, new old character. And then they go, oh, this is kind of working. It's a different color. Let's try this. Let's try this. And then they watch us do things, and for whatever reason, and people don't really know why, there was just an ability to understand what each other was going to do in scenes and how to bounce back off each other and like the humor and that kind of thing. Yeah. They're like, oh, we really like that. And then they would put it in different situations, and then it was just, when are they going to do it? And so many other things come into play. Like how many seasons are you going to go? And there's the business side of it and all of that. But I think, was there a specific episode, folks, where it was like, oh, like we had all the hints of it, but do you guys remember a specific episode where you're like, Lois and Clark would totally both know that they like each other?
Has anyone seen the show? There's got to be a nerd out here somewhere.
I think the scene you may be talking about.
When they float together in the bar.
They float together in the bar. It's a 200th episode, yeah. Well, I think maybe what you're talking about is your second episode. Is that after the shower scene? And Martha comes in, walks in on the two of you, and you're in the kitchen.
Well, I think
that was,
yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
We're like trying to explain ourselves.
But do you think that's more about the viewership watching, going, oh, look, that's how they're getting along? I don't know if our characters. We just don't know.
No, our characters did know.
Really annoying each other.
But at the same time, I don't think Clark could be who he was on Smallville without your Lois, because, like you said, it pushed him into different areas that he would have never gone to with Lana. You know what I mean? Because the Lana thing was just so juvenile in a lot of ways. And I mean, I'm not disrespecting it, but it was just like being on the same pattern that somebody else as you're trying to like save each other is very important.
You need that person that calls you out on your stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody flustered Clark. Nobody flustered Clark like Lois did.
That's right.
Over here.
First of all, thank you for still being the gold standard for Lois and Clark. You're the best. In a personal level, I made the trip just because of you. So because of you, my life had more joy. I have friends for life because of you. So I am so proud to call you my generation's Lois and Clark. Because everybody is asking this, when are you going to work together again? Please.
You mean like work together again? I don't know, you got any ideas? That's okay, that's me.
I brought a script.
Well, I mean, we were going to do the crisis thing that I thought was pretty cool. I mean, it was, when I was sent that script and I was told, like, don't say no, just read it, please. One scene. And I read it, and some of you have heard the story before, and I read it. And then it just turned out it was so great to see you at the farm and like do all that scene stuff. And what I liked about it is it opened up the imagination, what I wanted. The reason Smallville ended the way it was is because I came up with this idea of I wanted Clark to be able to ascend and go someplace that we can't go with, but we can imagine what he would be. Hero is out there. And what I like about the crisis thing is here you have Clark and Lois. You don't know specifically how they got to where they are, and you don't know specifically where they're going. But both situations give you hope. And I think ultimately isn't that what Superman's all about? You know better than I do.
I never played it, so I
Oh.
Next.
Okay, this question is for Erica. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't gotten too far. This is a wedding scene question when you were walking down the aisle. yesterday you said you shed a tear. So I'm curious if it was scripted for you to kind of have Lois showing vulnerability, or were you personally shedding a tear due to the fact that was
I don't think I actually shed a tear on.
Okay, it was after.
And then I more like, okay, keep it together.
I had a two-parter. I had a question in regards to whether or not they were playing music when you walk down, because we have music in the episode, and the song they chose is actually a breakup song. Sarah Bareilles is singing a breakup song, and I thought it was interesting that they picked that song for your wedding.
Well, if you don't mind, I will tell you, every scene that we ever do that has music, once you see it, that music was never played while we were doing it.
Okay.
And very rarely did they know what music would be played.
Okay.
Even if it was a prom scene and everybody's dancing together, they would play like 5 seconds of music and shut it off. That was never, and then we'd all have to stay to the beat. But it was never that music that was in the show.
Okay.
It was all decided after. Go ahead.
The song they play, I didn't know they played that in the wedding, which is weird.
They did.
I played it a lot and it's kind of on a bit of a loop. I like to listen to music when I work. And when there was moments of like potential breakup and stuff like that, for me, that was out. And I love Sarah Bareilles. I love her. And that song just worked for me. And so when I told them I really like that song, but it's bizarre that they played it.
Well, they played it when you read the letter as well. So they played it when you both are reading each other's letters at the door and all that good stuff. But then I didn't understand why they chose it for that. But
It was Erica's fault.
We have an inside joke on the podcast the night the finale aired. A bunch of grown men together, and that moment where you take her hand, I just don't turn on that lamp. We were watching it in the dark. We were like, do not turn on that lamp. Every one of us was tearing up. 20 years we've been doing it. Max over here.
I love that you're still triggered by that.
It's nice because it helped me not fall over in those silly high heels. Thank you.
That's why you're crying.
I have a question for each of you. I asked Michael and Kristen this in the previous panel. So to Erica, if someone had to be cast to play Tom in a biopic,
Oh yeah, this is the one I walked in.
which actor do you think would nail his personality? And then to Tom, sorry.
I'll shut up.
To Erica, if someone had to be cast to play Tom in a biopic, what actor do you think would nail his personality? And then to Tom, if someone had to be cast as Erica in a biopic, what actor would nail her personality? I can give you Michael and Kristen's answers.
Yeah.
So Kristen picked Jeremy Allen White for Michael, and Michael picked Evangeline Lilly and Angelina Jolie for Kristen.
This is classically, we're so similar in so many ways. We're like, I have no idea.
Well, I crashed their panel at the middle of that thing, and
You already had it.
no, I got up here, and after it was all like, well, it's funny I'm here and whatnot. Michael goes, Tom, who could ever play Kristen in a biopic? And I was like, nobody, it's impossible. And I just left. So apparently Michael put a lot of time into it, but I'll answer, like, nobody could play you but you. I mean, it's just, I always do.
Like real honesty behind that. That's
Yeah.
not just like,
No, like, I'm like, yeah.
sorry, I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
I mean, does somebody else have an
Michael
answer?
Rosenbaum.
By the way, I think Michael's and Kristen's answers were pretty good, but they're different things.
Awesome. Over here.
They like to think about stuff. Yeah.
Hey, you both have a sort of superpower in that you're famous. Are there ways in which you've been able to use your fame to do good, your superpower to do good in this world?
Like to share a message?
I'm sorry?
Like to share a message?
Yeah. Or like something
Like a
you've been able
platform?
to do, like help someone out, or a charity, or a cause you care about. Something where you've been able to, make a difference because of that platform you've been afforded.
Well, I mean, I think, how do I say this? I think that's exactly what we're doing here at the convention.
I was gonna say, can I answer for you?
Please do,
I know
please do.
You're so modest and sweet. You're not gonna be like, whoa. And whatever he does support is not gonna talk about it because it defeats the purpose of supporting a charity. Sometimes I think that people do that. But it is very much the work that it did for 10 years, And it's hearing from you guys, hey, you know, when I saw Clark do his thing, I felt like I belonged. I felt that it was okay to be a person that was outside of things. I felt a connection. I felt clumsy and weird and crazy. And it's the authenticity with which he played that character that I think is the biggest message. And then when you interact with people, you're nice, you're fun, you're sweet.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it's every time we interact with anybody, especially at these conventions, or like when you're at the airport and there's a guy who's in fatigues who's like, you know, I remember this happening when the whole thing in Afghanistan was going on. He was like, hey man, I'm shipping over, and like, you mean a lot. We become a message, and for us on this side, it's like a shell game sometimes of what we mean to people because we don't know. But I think that the show itself gives a warmth and a place to go of strength that I hope, I think that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
I think that I don't want to use whatever platform I have to be political, but I do want to encourage people. And maybe that answers you.
Definitely. You guys have inspired, I think, a lot of people here to do good in this world as well, so thank you.
Thank you.
Did you guys enjoy filming more of like the romance aspect of Lois and Clark, or did you enjoy filming like the friendship insert and like the?
I think my reaction is. This is what we did. We laughed through the whole thing. We were just like, all right, I guess, all right.
I laughed a lot.
It was fun.
I personally enjoy banter and fighting more than the romance.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like those moments are really earned. So we go along and we do a lot of fighting. I don't mind the occasional, like, oh, she loves him. That's cool because we need to put that out there. I mean, I'm just trying to hide my cynicism. People need to be in love.
The honesty, like, we would have those scenes, and it would be like, and I was so glad that you were so on board with this because the directors would come in and try to be so, okay, like gentle, like so, we have to get here, we have to get it. And my mindset had always been like, just tell me, it's a choreographed scene. It's a fight scene. But instead of fighting, you're making out and you're taking your clothes off. But let's choreograph this so we all know the beats. And I remember, not specifically, but I remember you just being of the same mindset of being like, all right, what do you want? What do you want? Let's just right there.
A, B, C, or D scenario.
What are the beats here? We'll hit those beats. Are we done? Thank you. That's how those scenes go, believe it or not. Not to ruin anybody's.
I mean, and people go, how do you do this? Everybody's watching and the crew's watching and it's so uncomfortable as they go. The crew is like,
Yeah, they're
so bored. Their heads into their head. You know.
Once the guy who set up the dolly has set up the dolly, he's not paying attention to the scene. We had the.
Did you remember JD?
Yeah,
He
JD.
fell off the dome.
Yeah. It was high as fuck. We had a scene with JD, and it was a Clark Lana scene, believe it or not, Love. And it was like one of their many breakup moments where like, they couldn't do it anymore. And she walks off, the camera comes in, Clark's there, and I'm trying not to blink. That's all I'm trying to do, I'm trying not to blink. And then I cut, and JD's got his eyepiece on, or whatever, and he's tearing up, and then I gotta give him a hug. They don't also the crew doesn't read the script. People are doing their jobs. In order to create an environment for us to do our jobs, which creates an environment where the editors can do their jobs, and then they can show you guys the best stuff, ideally. So it's a process.
One of the positives I'll say in those scenes, and it's really crucial, is that you have a partner that's working with you that's very trustworthy. And so that makes it a lot easier. And it doesn't always work out that way. So I will say that if you're going to look for like a romance scene in the positive part of it, I was like, okay, I know that I'm safe and I know that I'm going to have this experience and it's going to be fine and we're going to move on. And that was
or being on the same page.
Yeah.
Man, we were just talking about how we never leave you hanging.
Maybe I still have trust issues.
We got one over here.
Hi Tom, hi Erica. It's good to see you guys again. My question
I saw you like an hour and a half ago.
after watching the show the millionth time, and I just finished rewatching it last week, my question for you guys is that if you guys were given the choice, should Clark have told Lois a lot sooner? If so, what season?
I have to refer to my previous answer is the whole idea of conflict and drama in a television show is what elongates the idea. If Clark had told Lana earlier, I'm sorry. It actually refers to drama, to be honest. No, but it refers.
Who did you gaslight?
Like I always think the Smallville is like there's season 1 to season 5 and the season 6 to season 10. I think there's a separation there. But what I'm trying to say is it relates the same way. Like if Lana knew all about Clark, okay, I love you, let's move on. The same thing with Lois, in a sense. It's like if Lex knew everything about Clark, well, then what are we watching? A bunch of people hanging out watching another TV show. You know what I mean? It'd be like theater night at Lex Luthor's mansion with everybody knowing everything about everybody.
That's why you have a creative team behind it that is in charge of all that. And then they try to find ways. You can maybe have 1 or 2 moments where somebody finds out and they lose their memory, or they leave and then they come back. Like you can't do repeats. So what I did like is they introduced the storyline where she finds out and then she lets her, not knowing. You know what I mean? So they flipped it a little bit. And I thought that was really creative.
Yeah. I think that speaks a lot to Alan Miles too. I've told him this before, but you know, the evolution of the show having to come back year after year and try something, do something different. But they always said
they're so smart. And if anybody's, their new successful show is Wednesday. Have you seen it? And obviously, I checked it out because it's them, and there's actually a lot of similarities.
there are a lot.
But it still works, and it's genius, and it's in a different mode. But they're just so smart.
They are.
In how they craft.
But they would get to the end of the season, and the network was always like, "Well, where can you get yourself out of that one?" And I was like, "We'll figure that out in June."
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, hi guys. Thank you so much for being here. So mine is a multi. I think in the political climate today, and the way that media is so polarizing and everything, I think it says a lot to the show in that it was not. And I think speaking to the crowd here, one of my best takeaways has been how many cool people we've met from different generations, different backgrounds, different races, and everybody is just here having a great time and watching a great show. Do you think there are other great shows you could spearhead that would allow that same massive audience?
Like current TV shows?
Yeah, like put another one on. I would totally watch one with the
You're asking what TV show we would like to do right now. That's a big question for an out-of-work actor. No offense, we're both out of work.
Turning things down by trying to center. What I love is to, all the time about creative anything. But chaos.
I mean, I don't know, I just did this little independent movie that probably took a year to come out with some really good people. And it was a situation where they had the money to do it, and all the decisions and all, the script was written, the actress and comedian who wrote it was starring in it, but all the decisions that were being made were between every take, is what I'm saying. And it was so different. Like, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. She's like, that's fucking horrible, don't say that. But you can say this, it's just funnier than I am. But we just had this banter, did this thing. And what happened was the script, I think, became elevated in a sense that this is going to sound weird, it became elevated because it became a grounder, because people became less stereotyped, and they overlapped more, which made more sense in real life. Because in some ways, you can stereotype those, as much as you want, but like, it doesn't really add up if you're here to look at that. I don't know, I mean, I digress from that. That's not over here. But it was really fun that, like, I felt like it's really fun to be an experience where you can make decisions on the fly, and then that's what you get. But if what you're asking is, do I have a script written by myself that I want to make? No, I don't have one.
Could you?
I don't know if I can write a script. But we do have an
I cannot write a script, but I would love to do a show again that, now, anything. But I would love to be part of something again that people got behind, and it was exciting and interesting and new, and I could play something as a mid-40s lady, you know.
You're fabulous in mid-40s.
Thank you, I'm loving it.
Yes.
We could be detectives that fight. And like fight crime.
Why not?
And
we could. There's no doubt we couldn't.
As my kids say, I would be shipping that.
Is that a thing now?
She said that is. I'm shipping that. That means I'd be in for it. I'm there for that.
Nice.
What I do like that you said is that it's very, very refreshing to focus on positive stuff, things that bring people together, things that make us all feel like we're heard, human, and we have ultimately so many similarities. And it is nice to kind of meet on weekends like this.
Yeah, we're more similar than we are different. And especially in the world today, they're trying to limit us. And it's really don't let them do it. By the way, this is a collective, like, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is why we're here. This is collective. This is beautiful. And we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you. Awesome.
Well, with regard to crisis and your future, I still think that there is so much rich material here for y'all to do like a one special episode of another Smallville.
Us and our girls.
I just think it would be awesome. I mean, you know, your talent and your Smallville itself is growing. It's not shrinking, it's growing. We need another episode.
And then it gets reintroduced onto other platforms, and because people are wanting to kind of go back to things that they loved and really reaching into the sentimental, I would absolutely love to step on that train.
Are you talking about Lois and Clark raising two Supergirls?
Well, keep in mind that
they enter fight, and then you could like dip into like being super-y.
right. So, remember the blue kryptonite, where you know you put your bracelet on and you weren't, yeah. Take your bracelet off and have your powers again. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're waiting for it. Y'all gotta do it.
You know, let's make it. What's the thing they do on Twitter where?
Trend?
Yeah, let's.
Well, and we need to see where Lex is right about now too.
I wasn't thinking about Lex.
Let's negotiate the
I was thinking about having two super daughters.
Lex and Lana. You just don't know where they are.
Lana's gone. She's our superhero.
We know she can't touch you anymore, but
Right.
still
Well, no one's gonna let her.
Go on this side.
Hello, I came from Brazil to see you, and you have so many fans in Brazil, and you were there recently, and I'd like to know.
Yeah, we could have met there.
And I'd like to know how was the experience for you?
It was beautiful. It was wonderful, especially. So specifically, when I went to Brazil, every single person around knew exactly where I was. Every single person.
You can go anywhere
Well,
it's all human.
Like, I was gonna call him.
But every person that I walked past in the street, nobody bothered me. Nobody was like, I didn't feel threatened. But every single person knew who I was. And I remember them at the convention, it was great. And then I flew back to Houston. And everybody on the plane, the pilot wanted a picture. This never happened. And then I waited 2 hours for my next flight to go home. And nobody. Zero recognition. So I went from like, oh, this is too much, to like, wait, where'd it go? But my experience in Brazil has always been, every time I go, so wonderful, it's so warm. And like, we went to this beach restaurant thing before it. Yes, I recommend it.
Do you ever feel threatened? Like, do you ever feel like when you're walking along, this person is dangerous?
I mean, like I can't handle it? Not really. But I do get very, I do increase my sense of anxiety and possessiveness when I'm with, like, my wife and my kids. I have, my tolerance goes down a lot. And it becomes this other thing where, like, this is not the time. Because I got this thing that I'm really focused on. So there's a difference there. And I'm working on that. Because my wife is like, you can always be polite.
I'm like, you're big, honey, but they ain't getting past me.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Awesome. You go on this side?
Hey guys. How you doing? Quick question for both of you. Is there anything that you've learned from these characters, or playing these characters, just from the characters themselves, that you've been kind of changed, and it's changed how you showed up in the world, or it changed how you just move throughout and navigate through the world?
I think it's taken a while, at least for me, but I didn't know this at the time, because I think I was learning as Clark was learning, and I think that was some of the beauty of this, the synchronization of me playing the character in a way. But you can't force your way into a solution. I think that was something that now that I look back on it, I see that the show had, and that I'm still learning, but it's, I mean, you can have heat vision and you can do all these things, but that doesn't solve the issue. It solves maybe the situation, but not the issue. And, I think that's something that I maybe lean on a little bit more. Yeah.
I don't think I've solved this. But
I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you. As always.
I'm trying to find the best way to say it. What I loved about Lois is she was not perfect. And I really want to be perfect as a human. I want to do everything right, I want to follow the rules, I don't want to make mistakes, I don't want to hurt anybody. Like, there's a quintessential pattern on the way everything ought to be done. And I believe just inherently by playing that character, and no matter how much I tried to make her polished or tried to make her suave and all these things, like, her weird was okay. And I'm
Clark liked it.
So I'm kind of still coming to terms with weird being okay. Okay?
Thank you.
So you guys have run the show for a while. I mean, Tom, you especially. I mean, like 12, 16-hour days. We were talking about earlier, reading your lines, going to bed, just doing it again. And once the show ended, for you guys, I mean, you have like this newfound thing, but your purposes that you had for all that time is gone. I mean, what did you guys learn about yourself just as humans? Like this purpose that was everything is now kind of in my back, in my rearview mirror. And what did you learn about yourselves? You got the fame part, and now you're kind of looking for something new. What did that teach you?
I mean, well, I disappeared.
We know.
I mean, I had a house on another coast that I went to, and I was like, I'm just going to do whatever I want for what turned out to be by myself. And then I kind of woke up 6 months later, not woke up, but like I kind of realized 6 months later, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, doing nothing right now. And then I kind of went back to LA and got sort of like, let's get back into it, let's get back to this. But I needed some decompression time myself, for sure. Because a lot of the time that I was on the show, I was thinking about what I was going to do if I wasn't on the show. Because, I mean, it's just like, mean, you all have jobs, most of you. Half of you. And the thing is, when you think about the thing, when you're at work, and I did this for like 8 years. When you're at work and you're unhappy, you're thinking about the things you can't do, write them down. And then later when you have time, go look back. I guarantee you 80% of those you don't give a shit about. But do those over the 20%. Because the problem is, especially in our work, if you're not working, you're unemployed. So you're working and you're like, oh, this is tough. And then you're unemployed and you're like, oh, this is tough. And so you're in a constant state of like this. Like you gotta do that 20% on that list when you have the time to do it. Live your life. Don't wait for it to call you.
We're constantly different versions of ourselves. You know what I mean? No matter what job you're in, whether you reach a level of fame or whether you're, working every day in something and you get fired, or you become a mom and you become a dad, and then you're not that anymore, and you're not this, and we're really in a world where we're defined by the thing you do or some kind of position you have. And what I was forced to look at and continue to look at is what makes me valuable as a human being, and maybe it's the fact that I just exist. And maybe it's my interactions with these group of people every day, whoever I come in contact with. Maybe somebody will smile, maybe somebody will laugh. And
it's not summed up in a caption of a picture.
It can be, yeah.
It's not summed up in a caption of an Instagram picture. It's just not.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. And on that note.
Let's be human.
Tom, for the later seasons, you were an executive producer on the show. Were there any storylines that you really fought for that you wanted to see happen that didn't make it into the show? Or anything that they approached you with that you were like, no, my character wouldn't?
The only thing I fought for was something I got, which was the ending, which was Clark went like that. And I was able to convince them. It was a one-shot, Craig David directed it, it was on a crane. I was like, I told them like how we're gonna shoot it. And going back to the idea that Clark was gonna ascend, but we couldn't go with him. So it was one camera on a crane, no secondary camera anywhere. The shirt that Clark goes like this was literally a tank top. Not a suit, because the wardrobe department was like, you're not gonna show the suit, well, we're not gonna build the suit, you gotta pay for the suit, it's expensive. So all you need is this one thing. And the idea was that the camera was gonna come in and stop at this one point, like this, boom, and that was it. So that was me, that was one of the only times I ever said, I think this is what we should do, and it worked, and they did it, and I think it worked. But I don't remember another time where I even like reached out to change anything. I mean, we had really good writers and producers and people who like got a good sense of the show. But so I guess I'm one for one.
Thank you.
Tom, you had to depict Clark as experiencing like paranoid delusions because he like cut himself with the silver kryptonite. I want to know, like, as an actor, did you have to take yourself to like a super dark place, or was you having fun with it? Like, I'm just always curious on actors' mindsets when they depict something that is a serious thing, as far as like having.
It's a good question, and it probably deserves a longer answer, but one thing that I had to do, because I wasn't aware of the different kryptonites and things of the Superman lore, so I had to ask those questions first. And then from there, I had to think about what my physical reaction would be to those. And then, based on that, what my tonal reactions would be based on different situations with the relationships I had with people. I mean, red K is a big jump, right? You know, you got red K and you got green kryptonite. Those are very obvious reactions. But this one, I was like, how do I find a little nuance in here to like make it not the same but different? But then the show also helps you with how they shoot it, the camera angles, and what lenses they choose. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's a teamwork effort at that point, especially at that point in the series. because everyone's trying to figure it out together. It's not like sometimes in a film, an actor will show up and they'll just have their thing, right? And everybody has to work around it, sometimes. On a TV show, it's a team effort. You know, it's a football game. You know, you're trying to like figure it out together. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but I just know that I was just trying to figure out little things that might be different from the other kryptonites.
You're saying that the reason why you look so crazy in the episode was a collective. It was a collective collaboration making Clark look. I was like, damn, he lost his mind.
Yeah, because Red Clark is more, he just doesn't care about consequences. With this Clark, it's just like, well, let's set it off. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
I would murder.
You know, yeah, well, good.
You know, one of the things I like about watching you work, this is, every actor is a little different. Some people come from a very internal place, and they think that it's built up and manifest from inside. And I think it's probably because you had to do it for a very long time, and you always say, this endurance, right? But there's these things that you figure out intellectually and technically. What does my body need? What does this mean? What is the camera going to do? How much of this is, what is it going to look like from this piece? And this will do this percentage of the work for me, and then this helps me relax, and then I can do this piece. So it's like it's working a little bit from the outside in, but also incredibly efficient, and then it allows you to have the endurance to keep doing things. Because if you're going to turn yourself inside out at every moment that you could, I don't think you'll, like, nobody can sustain
I
that.
completely agree with everything you just said. And it brings me back to a quote that I heard from the Hitchcock quote, where he was working on, it doesn't matter what movie, but he was working on actors. And, you know, the cameras back then weren't so mobile and whatnot, basically with filming place. But anyway, the actress was turning left and right, and doing all this stuff. And it was like, cut. And Hitchcock went in and apparently said, it's lovely what you're doing, I love what you're doing, but if the camera that's right there doesn't see it, it didn't happen. And I think that you just touched on that. I created a sense of like, we can do all this, but there's the camera. So it all has, so there's one thing that's focused.
It takes so much pressure off.
Yeah, you gotta like narrow things down to where like, what's my space to actually do performance? Because you can't just run.
This question is for Tom and maybe Erica. I was wondering, Tom, if you can clear up a mystery surrounding the romance between Clark and Lana and Clark and Lois. So Clark and Lana aren't able to be together until Clark loses his powers. And then he regains them and they have to break up. And when he gets together with Lois, there does not seem to be the same problem.
Those feel different.
No, that's it.
Over here.
That's a funny question.
She's like, it's maybe for Europe. I was like, I don't know.
I think it isn't a question yet.
So one of the things that I always love about Smallville is that it's in this world that is about superheroes, villains, superpowers, all these things that are crazy, fantastic, but totally unreal. Yet I felt like all the characters felt really relatable and realistic. So my question for each of you is, were there key characteristics that maybe weren't in the script, but that you were choosing to add to Clark or add to Lois to make those characters more real in a world that maybe wasn't?
My biggest one that came up, I'm going to exaggerate and say daily, probably daily, but reminding myself that Clark didn't know who he was going to be. Like, he didn't know. So it was really what was in front of him in the moment. I mean, if he was like, if Terrell was like, by the way, in 10 seasons, this is Superman, this is what he'll look like. Clark might have acted a little bit. But he was a kid who had these abilities, trying to figure out who he was and his identity in the world. And that was a constant reminder that I gave myself at the age of
don't know if I have an answer. I think that I got a lot of information about who Lois is from the material, from how I would play the material. There's a certain way, necessary cadence that I had to have to just technically make some of that dialogue work, which made her sometimes look a little bit more neurotic and a little bit more like
Passionate.
Passionate is the word we're going to use. So I think that started the overall piece of it, and then I took so much of it with the material that was there, and some of it happened by happenstance, just sadly I wish I could say I crafted this whole thing, this and this, but you take it from the information that's there.
I agree.
We've got a few minutes left, so we're going to rapid fire these.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick. Hi guys. I really love Lois and Clark. Love being a keyword, and I like Bitsy and Tyler's edition of Lois and Clark. So I have a proposal for y'all. Maybe the audience will agree, disagree. I think it would be cool to have the four of you appear on Top Bill and perhaps do some sort of Smallville trivia. Oh crap, really, Lana? Or some sort of panel or something. What do you guys
I'm not saying no because I love both of those people as well.
Yes, I do.
And we're all buddies and whatnot. I just see Bitsy talking, I just see Bitsy really thinking about what she's going to say and Tyler just laughing his way through the whole thing. So I don't know, we'll consider it.
Okay, that's cool.
But we love them, we're all buddies, especially on the cons.
But your edition was better. Just saying.
Hi, I just want to say, Erica, thank you for your contribution to the show. I loved it. My mom would watch the show more when you were in the episodes and go watch that as a family. So she just loves you. Thought you were hilarious. My question is, I'm from Wichita, Kansas. And so I was just curious, the show takes place in Kansas, and sometimes we make jokes about, oh yeah, we definitely have those kind of pine trees in Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Kansas? And if you have, where?
I've not been to Kansas.
Wichita's great.
Thank you for listening.
I've been to Kansas City. I love that. Had some great steak. True story.
There were seasons I forget Lana even existed because of Lois and Clark. It was just, and so you guys have so many cute romance scenes and whatnot. What is your favorite scene, Lois and Clark scene throughout the series, and why is it the dunk tank scene in season 4?
I think the dunk tank scene was great. When Clark's in the...
What do you want to know about this scene?
What's your favorite Lois and Clark scene?
Yeah.
Is that right? And why would it be the dunk tank scene?
I would say that would probably be the scene because whether either character knows it or not, it's you see the future, especially since it's in slow motion. And you're like, got you! And he's like, ah!
It's like slow motion, they're going to make us like...
Oh, good. Yeah, exactly.
I like the Daily Planet stuff. I like and we always shot those scenes before we were awake. It's usually first up in the day.
Yeah. Navigating,
and
walking
6 a.m.
around.
And I just love that. I love that vibe.
Oh yeah, it's season 8 one where she finds out that he's working with him. That was really
that was fun.
That's a good one too.
Over here.
Hi, thanks for coming. Got a question for both of you. Just wanted to say I'm not a long-time viewer. I found Smallville last year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was watching a different show.
You have a lot of people to talk to if you need a resource.
No, I've already watched all the episodes a couple times. But what got me into it, YouTube found this clip of what's my favorite scene. It's the one that we were asked about yesterday, Erica. The one at the end of ISIS where you jump on top of Clark. And they have, just went all out. We even have confetti, CGI on top of you guys when you're going in. It's just great stuff. And there's just so much that seems to go into some of these scenes. There's such great scenes. I was wondering if you could recall some episodes that you maybe spent a long time kind of collaborating on with the writers and yourselves.
Every single one of them. Again, it was 10 days to get 42 minutes of television. So every single time. And there is a law of 4. This is my own law that I figured out on the show. 1 out of every 4 scenes is really important. 1 out of every 4 episodes is really important. 1 out of every 4 moments is really important. And if you can pick those moments, you will last the season. And that was something that I just figured out on my own to pace my emotional sort of journey in being on the show.
Put out a lot of fires, you took care of everybody, you were always watching to see if somebody was being compromised, or something was happening, or it was a really considerate thing to do, but it was extra.
Thank you.
Good deal. All right, real quick. Move fast.
I'm asking everyone this question. Erica, you're welcome to answer again. Smallville gave us a lot of really great emotional moments that no matter how many times I watch them, still get me choked up. So I was wondering, for any TV show, any movie, no matter how many times you guys watch it, what is one of those moments for you and why?
Top Gun, when Goose goes down. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Lois built different.
Over here.
So, a couple of years
T-shirt, guys.
That's a shirt, that's a t-shirt.
Different, by the way, not different.
No,
Different.
So a few years ago, a Smallville animated series was announced to be in development. Apparently it's stalled, but if it ever does get made, is there any kind of direction you both would like to see the series go?
Everything you said was correct. It hasn't been stalled. Because it will never, it's more of a fan-based idea than it is a moneymaker idea, which is why I think it's been stalled. As a collective, the idea is that we would all voice our own characters, which would be fun. And all I know is that I've seen the poster for it. Right? We built a poster. And it's the cast, and it's kind of like Smallville, and then there's like there's a Lionel Luthor looming over it.
Just said floating.
Yeah, he's just like looming. I guess he's looming. It's not working.
Is he looming up there?
Looming. Like he's over. I'm gonna stop trying to use my hands. But that's the idea. But yeah, we're stalled. We're stalled until we get them to say, please continue.
He's also really tiny and he's huge. Like, you know how he's
We're kind of normal, but he's
you're a little bit bigger and then he's looming.
No, like, we're normal, but he's looming. Well, Michael has it on his phone, but yeah.
All right, real quick, we got a couple more.
Some of my favorite episodes are the ones where Clark is developing new abilities. Are there any abilities that you particularly loved finding out how to make work, or ones that you wish you would have done that are more nuanced Superman powers? And then for Erica, you were there for like sneeze and for the mind reading ability. Were there any abilities that you kind of enjoyed playing off of?
Well, I know Erica's answer.
I can just imagine being like, oh, sneeze was great. I love that superpower. That was so much fun to be a part of. I loved it when he sneezed. Nobody likes it when their loved one sneezes.
It's like the super breath.
Thanks.
Remember when we got to like the latter part of the seasons and the budget was lower and you'd be like, your superpower moment was heating my coffee? That was not as cool as like throwing the bus.
It's the little things. It's the little things.
It's all human, little things.
Sorry, it's your question.
I'm gonna reheat your coffee for you, honey.
Gross.
What was the question?
Which one did you like crafting and it's about?
Yeah, which power did you like developing the best, and were there any ones that are more nuanced Superman powers you wish you would have done?
Well, the most awkward one was the heat vision because it was supposed to be. Like it was supposed to be. Like,
why?
I'd rather not discuss it. The most fun was the heat vision. I mean, so The X-ray vision was a lot of fun because it was the first one we really tried to capture, okay? And so there's a locker and there's a bag inside the locker. Clark can't just open the locker because that would be wrong. But he could maybe try to look through it and see what's into the bag that's in there. And everything was set up, and Glenn was the DP, I remember, because he was sitting there. And the camera was set up, and they're like, ready, camera rolling, sound, you're rolling. And I remember thinking, it was the first time I was thinking, like, why do they fucking care about saying anything? I remember thinking that. That was like one of the first things I was like, why do we care about sound? I'm not saying anything. It's just the shot of me trying to. And instantly I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. I don't know how to X-ray vision. I can't X-ray vision. I haven't thought about how I'm going to do this. I don't even know what I'm trying to. So then I just tried to look through. It was like, I mean, maybe that's called method acting. I don't know. I tried to look through the fucking thing. And then in my mind, I found what I was looking for. And then I went, oh, there it is. And then they were like, cut. And all I heard was Glenn going, I was like, I love it. He goes, that was hilarious. I mean, it was great. We're keeping it because it works for the thing, but watching you do it was hilarious. And I was like, thanks. So, yeah.
Folks, we got to get Tom and Eric out of here. They got to fly.